Hey guys, Dirt here. Welcome back to Formers Friday. You know, we started doing Formers Friday just to talk about some crazy little Optimus Primes that I saw that were part of the Beast Hunters line. And things have started to spiral out of control because everybody is pointing out to me all of these different Optimus Prime Beast Hunters. And so I went ahead, got another one, and we're going to talk about it here today. Today we're going to be talking about the Beast Hunters Optimus Prime Dragon Assault. Big guy here. This is basically the one with the rotating cannon on the back that maybe you've seen online. Normally sells for $60. Has been appearing on Amazon from time to time, anywhere from $15 to $20. And at that price, I figured, yeah, what the heck? Probably should take a look at it. So, let's hop in the photo tent. Take a look at the box here first. Just basically a giant window with the try feature, which isn't working. It should be making the wheel in the back spin around, light up. I don't know if mine is broken. Batteries are dead. I guess we'll find out in just a minute. But you can see some nice artwork of it there. We got an Optimus Prime on the side. We got talking about all the different features here on the back. And then we've got his technical data stats. If anybody cares about that, you can pause that. Go back and watch it. There's no reason for us to talk about it here now. But I'm going to rip this guy open and get him out of the pack. And I can see there's lots of little, some of those invisible bands and the ties, those twist tie things that I just absolutely hate. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the magic of video editing to get this guy out of the box, and you will see that right here in front of your eyes, transform right out of the box. And looks like it also may have gotten kind of dark in here since I started. Clouds rolled in, and I didn't turn on the overhead light. That was my mistake. Sorry about that. We'll fix that before we come back for a transformation. But let's throw him in the photo tent the way he is. And that is one big dude. He is a tall-looking figure. A couple things to point out here. On the package, they show these green things as being translucent green plastic. They are not. They are just solid. Also, for whatever reason, a couple of them aren't even green. They're just gray, and they shoot out. Here's a handle on the back, which you actually attach manually. It doesn't come attached when you buy it, so if you don't want it on there, I guess you can take it off, not put it on there. You can pull really hard and get it back off, but it does have a trigger switch down here, which works on his gun thing, and it allows you to switch it without having to use the button on the front, which is nice. If shooting the missiles is a big deal for you, then there you go. But actually, I really don't like the gimmick overall of having the wheel on the back. So I basically just bought him because I wanted to look at the, just the regular, how he looks as a giant Optimus Prime. He comes with the shield, which we've seen before on the little guys, and he comes with this sword. I forget what this sword is called. It's like the Blade Storm. It's supposed to be like a blade of grass, something. I don't remember. But anyway, the figure itself, overall, I think it looks generally pretty nice. The figure itself has lots of little detail, sculpted into it, so it looks okay. You've got Autobot symbol on there. You've got some color overall, but for the most part, like the arm is red, so they molded it in red and put some gray accent on it. So for the most part, the colors look fine and they look consistent from piece to piece throughout the figure there. But they are big and hollow. Right here, this big arm right here, you can actually, if you shine a light through one side, you can see it come through on the other side. It is just a big, empty piece of plastic. So it feels hollow and it feels kind of cheap for a figure that would normally cost you $60. This does not feel like it's worth that amount of money. But for $15 on Amazon, it's actually not bad. Now, I showed a minute ago how you can use the button, the handle on the back in order to make it shoot. The other way to make it shoot is to use this thing right here, which, of course, is going to shoot me right in the face. And it didn't shoot. Okay, so apparently it's not going to shoot just by pressing this. That just makes it rotate, which is awkward, because then I guess you would have to go to the back and pull the switch to make it shoot, but then why would you bother to use this thing on the front to make it rotate? This doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me as a toy. But again, like I said, as an Optimus Prime, I think this looks pretty good. This is how I'm going to display it on my shelf. Is just set it up like this and just leave it like this as a giant robot. I think that looks pretty cool. Okay, and now we have light. Yay! So it's not as dark in here. So now, we are going to take this Optimus Prime, and we're going to convert him into truck mode. And as we like to do here on Formers Friday, I don't like to show you me transforming because it's a lot of swearing a lot of times, getting really confused and kind of looking like a giant doofus, more than usual. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to use the magic of video editing, and we're just going to make him transform. And there he is in his giant truck mode. Alright, let's throw him in the photo tent and take a look. We'll adjust this a little bit. Now, to be honest, I told you guys that I don't like people to watch me when I make them transform because it's really difficult a whole lot of times and I look like an idiot. And the truth is, this one, transforming him is exceptionally easy. He's actually about as easy as the tiny little guys, if that really tells you something. Part of it, though, you have to throw away the instructions and just kind of look at it. Everything tabs into place, pops right into a spot. It makes total sense, and it's super easy. But in truck mode, he looks terrible. Let's just be honest here. Now, I like the short nose cab look, and that's part of the reason why I started to look at the Beast Hunters line, was because I like the short nose cab Optimus Prime, and that was something that they brought back in a bunch of these toys and these figures. But the problem is, it is very easy to transform, so easy, in fact, that when he's in truck mode, you can still see so much of his robot mode in here. For instance, oh look, there are his hands. There are the arms. They just fold right back. You see this part that's the leg? Yeah, it's the exact same leg, just folded up and tabbed into the arms. In fact, the feet, unlike some of the other big Transformers, they don't even fold underneath. There's all this hollow space under here, and they don't fold in and go away. And in fact, you can see the bottom of this is all hollow, plastic tires. They're not even rubberized or anything. It just looks and feels cheap. And in this mode, the cab isn't even connected as one piece. The wheel well cover here is actually connected to the tire, which folds back into the leg here, so it's not even connected to the cab itself. So when you look at it, you can see that this part is separated out. They don't even fold together. They didn't bother to put anything extra to cover it up. It's just kind of there. In fact, we're even lucky. We have this piece here covering up the shoulder joint, I think only because they needed to fold all the way back, so they had this panel, lift off so it could tab into place. That's the only reason why that's even marginally covered there. You can see here's the leg here. This is the extra piece that holds the wheel up to the front. One of the things I liked in the other designs that I saw in the Beast Machines Optimus Prime was that the teeth, when you're in figure mode, it's up there as part of his chest, and then it comes down and becomes the bumper. Well, they have this extra bumper and grill piece that fold out from behind the tires, which kind of fake giving the cab some extra space, but then you've got this extra piece up here. And you would think, once you have it in truck mode like this, well then maybe this is where it makes sense to have this piece to flip it around, whereas in robot mode you're using the handle at the top. As it turns out, nope. When you put that grill piece into place, this stops moving. You can kind of force it down a little bit if you want to, try to push it, but it can only go so far because that grill piece stops it from moving. So this is actually a completely worthless feature once it's in its cab mode. Now this is supposed to light up when you press the button, and mine's not lighting up. I don't know if it's broken, if the batteries need to be replaced. I looked all over here to see if there was like a demo switch. Sometimes there's on-off demo little thing. Nope. There's a battery cover in the back where I can replace the batteries, but otherwise I don't see any way to make that turn on or off. It's just, I guess, burned out, even though this came directly from a warehouse and was never on a retail floor. So that's really disappointing. And then, of course, you've got his whole Dragon Blaster feature here, which I guess if you really want to play a lot of games with your friends and pretend to shoot, and you've got a little kid that really likes that action feature, well then there you go. But if you're not really planning on using that Dragon Blaster or whatever it's called, then it kind of gets in the way. It looks stupid hanging off of them, and these don't fold out of the way or anything. So you've got, as you can see, these giant pieces sticking out on the edges, which really, distract from the overall look of the toy. So in truck mode, this just looks dirt terrible, dirt awful, the dirt worst of all time. That's me. There are little holes on here, and you would think, oh, well, then I can stick the shield to get it out of the way, or to make it look more like a truck. Well, you can put the shield down on this one, which I guess kind of helps to cover up, but you can't stick it on the hole up here on his arm, because then it gets in the way of this thing, and those two start fighting over space, and you can't really, there's no good way to move it to get that piece stuck on there. So then you can take the sword and say, well, that might be a good spot for the sword. You can't put it this way, it gets in the way. You can kind of put it this way, and stick it in there, if I can. That's what she said. Stick it in there. There you go. And I guess that does an okay job, but it's so long, it really covers up the front. Looks kind of stupid that way. If you try to do it backwards, I guess it looks a little bit better to go for covering up in the back. That's actually not too bad, and it's kind of reminiscent of having the gray trailer on the back, but of course it doesn't cover all the way, and you don't have one on the other side. So you can put, I guess, the shield on the other side, and I don't know, for me, from kind of a design standpoint, I really don't like the look of it being off balance like that, If there was another sword I could put on the other side, then I might be a little more forgiving overall. But, I mean, seriously, on a scale of 1 to 10, this truck mode, especially for the price that they charge, is a 1, maybe a 2. It's really just pathetic, the way this one looks in the truck mode. And it's so little thought went into this. Now, like I said, this thing normally sells for $60. When it first came out, it was $60. If you or someone you knew bought this thing for $60, they probably hate Transformers right now. They probably feel as bad about the Transformers line as I did after watching that first terrible Michael Bay movie. It's really a piece of terrible garbage. Now, like I said, in robot mode, I kind of like the big, bulky look of it, and I could see myself putting it on the shelf in robot mode and just having it, hey, there's a big Optimus Prime up there that's got this funky blaster thing. But in truck mode, I mean, this just looks terrible. I just don't see how they could have released this and just said, oh yeah, that looks fine. You know, they thought the action feature would distract from the fact that it just looks awful. But for me, not a winner. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week here on Formers Friday. We've got another Beast Machines Optimus Prime we'll be taking a look at in a couple weeks. But first, some of you guys asked about some G1 stuff. So I think next week we're probably going to take a look at the KB Toys version of Ultra Magnus from G1. We can take a look at that. We can also do a comparison. I've got a G1 Optimus Prime and a G2 Optimus Prime, the one with the voice box and the giant rocket launchers that attach on the side. So we can actually take those and do a little comparison on those between the G1, G2 versions. So that ought to be fun. Hopefully you guys will look forward to that. And then we'll go back to that other Beast Machines one and see if maybe it's any good. Some other stuff coming down the line. We'll be taking a look at G1 Soundwave, Blaster, Astro Train, just some random stuff, you know. We'll be doing that. If there's anything you would like to see in particular, let me know. I'll see if I can get my hands on it. There are some guys out there that have some pretty good collections and said that maybe we could take a look at one or two things. We'll see if we can figure something out. But otherwise, don't forget to go to popculturenetwork.com. Check out more reviews, videos, comic book reviews, podcasts, still done occasionally. We've got some news, comic previews, all sorts of neat stuff like that. You can find me on Twitter at PCN_dirt. Guys like Nasty Will keep calling me out on Twitter. They got plenty of questions and stuff going on, and it's just a great way to get a hold of me and get some instant feedback. You can always call our 24-hour voicemail line. That's area code 217-953-4025. And if you really love talking about toys, talking about comic books, talking about video games, and you're looking for some other people to talk to, head on over to jointheforums.com and start a conversation there. And a lot of people will respond, myself being one of the trolls that's constantly checking out the board, see what's going on. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.